More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's KBLA Talk 1580's third annual Black History Month luncheon, and you're invited. This is year 2 of our climate justice work, and this year's $2 million 12-month campaign is all about linking and combating the relationship between climate and Black health. We already know that these wildfires will leave in their wake even greater inequities, including negative impacts on Black health, given the toxic air pollutants circulating in the air we breathe. So, as part of this year's climate campaign, we're honoring Black doctors and leaders in healthcare at our annual Black History Month luncheon, Friday, February 28th at noon. If you would like to join us, just go to our KBLA 1580 website and register for your chance to be our guest at the luncheon. We'd love to see you. And in case you haven't heard the news, KBLA Talk 1580 was just named one of the semifinalists for the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
A junkie walking through the twilight. I'm on my way home. I left 3 days ago, but no one seems to know I'm gone. Home is where the hatred is. Home is filled with pain, and it might not be such a bad idea if I never went home again.
I'm Tavis, Smiley, delighted to have you with us in this hour of our program. And we are delighted to have Dr. Janet Dewart-Bell back on this program, this time to discuss the classic text authored by her late husband, the distinguished law professor Derek Bell, Faces at the Bottom of the Well. That's a book that's on my on the shelf in my library that I go back to from time to time, although I admit it's been a while, but the text is it's iconic. It's called, again, Faces at the Bottom of the Well, and I figure with all the current political chicanery in Washington, now might be a really good time to revisit this game-changing piece of written work. JDB, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Tavis? It's always great to be with you, and we certainly have a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about. I love that. And I'm doing well. If I complained, you know me, I'd be an ingrate. So I'm delighted to have you on. I should mention Dr. Janet Dewart-Bell is the founding president of Lead Intergenerational Solutions, Inc. We'll get into that perhaps later in our conversation. But before we get straightway into the book, Faces at the Bottom of the Well, I want to start, I think, with this because we see all of this attack from the Trump administration on what's known as DE&I. And we know the role your husband played in writing about and teaching in this context. And I am curious as to what you think Derek Bell might be saying about this particular moment, given what he was the father of. I'll let you unpack that, connected to this attack on DE&I.
He would say, I believe, that the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion really comes from people who are petty and pathetic and uninformed. And because what happens with Black progress has lifted all boats throughout our history. And these people who use DEI as a tool, they're really using it to attack Black people and other people of color. And so Derek would be saying we need to stand against that. These people who are little, they're pathetic, they're bullies. How could they criticize something? I'm so happy to see that some corporations, not many, are standing up to say, no, actually our employees actually like diversity. And so that is a good sign. So we have to look for good signs when we see them. But the attack on Derek wrote about the the subline of the subtitle of Faces at the Bottom of the Well is the permanence of racism, and as you say, we can unpack that if you'd like.
Yeah. How if we are going to? I'm glad we got an hour to do that. But given that he was, in fact, as many regard him, the father of critical race theory, what's your sense of how he would regard the way that CRT has become a boogeyman, and that's what will open the door to this attack on DE&I?
That obviously it's unfair, unjust, unwise, and makes no sense. It really does not. If you cannot talk about race theory or other things in a critical fashion, critical race theory really was started at a law school. They kept saying, "Oh, we're trying to indoctrinate our children." Well, I'm not saying that children shouldn't be taught critical race theory, but that's not where it's been taught. It's not been taught K through 12. It's really been in law schools. It's to have a serious look at race in American society and what race is and how people have interpreted that and how they have used the idea of race as a bludgeon to keep people down, to make people feel that some people, particularly as the statement says, the lowest white man to feel better than the highest black man, and so that's something we just need to be aware of. So Derek had a really funny sense of humor. He would be both angry and bemused at the same time, and that's how he kept, I think, his balance. People are always trying to say they want to put us in a position, black people in particular, so that we're always so miserable and whatever, and we're not. We have joy in the midst of the struggle, which drives people even more crazy, I think.
Yeah. I was talking to a guest yesterday, and I actually said this to her during one of the breaks. And she got a big belly laugh out of it. But I was having dinner one night. Speaking of brilliant minds like Derek Bell and Janet Dewar Bell, I was having dinner one night with Toni Morrison.
And how lucky can you be?
Yeah, I mean, it was Tony and Cornell and myself, Dr. West. So it was Dr. West, Cornell West, Toni Morrison, and myself having dinner at Princeton. Tony was giving a lecture that particular night. No, it's the other way around. Dr. West was giving the Toni Morrison lecture. That's what it was. Dr. West was giving the annual Toni Morrison lecture at Princeton.
At Princeton?
Yeah.
Yes.
And, of course, I was invited to attend, and so I went back, and so Toni Morrison, Dr. West, I having dinner one night. And Toni Morrison said to me over dinner, she said, "Tavis, I must tell you this." I said, "What?" She said, "Black people have never bored me. They have never bored me. They have made me feel every emotion known to humankind. But I'll tell you this thing about black people. They have never bored me." That was Toni Morrison. It was a simple statement, but there's so much in it. That black people, we may be many things. We are not boring. And I think about that every now and then, all these years later. This book became an instant New York Times bestseller. It's called Faces at the Bottom of the Well, The Permanence of Racism. We're going to unpack it with Janet Dewar Bell and why now's a good time for us to pull it off our shelves, dust it off, go back inside of it in this Trump 2.0 moment. You're listening, and I'm glad about it, to Tavis Smiley.
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MOTOR for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MOTOR for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MOTOR.
Can your pad absorb everything and stay fresh? Always Radiant with Flex Foam can. Get up to 0 leaks, 0 odor, and 0 feel. Because Flex Foam is the only pad with a flexible foam core. You heard me, foam. Always Radiant is so thin, it feels like nothing, yet protects like nothing else. Can your pad do that? For up to 100% leak-free protection, try Always Radiant to see what Flex Foam can do for you.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
You say you never give in to a meltdown. And never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it. And never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, know it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? HIMS can help. Get started at hims.com/joy. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed with Dr. Janet Dewar-Bell, who is the president and founder of Lead Intergenerational Solutions. But she was blessed for many years to be married to a brilliant scholar named Derek Bell. You know the name, was the father of critical race theory, but just a brilliant mind. Wrote a number of texts, but one of his classic texts is, I think, worth taking off the shelf and revisiting. I said moments ago that there are certain books on my shelf that I go back to time and time again, beyond the Bible. There are other books that I go back to time and time again, and I thought that, again, this was a propitious moment to have a conversation about this book, Faces at the Bottom of the Well, The Permanence of Racism. Let me do this to make it a little bit easier for Janet Dewar-Bell. I want to just read for you very quickly a description of what this book is about. I always want to make sure that everybody in my audience is on the same page, and I don't want to make the assumption, Janet Dewar-Bell, that everybody in this audience knows this book or has read this book. So I want to just lay out for a moment here what this text is about, and then we'll jump straightway into our conversation about the book and why in this moment we all ought to be rereading it. So it's a classic work, of course, on American racism and the struggle for racial justice. In Faces at the Bottom of the Well, civil rights activist and legal scholar Derek Bell uses allegory and historical example to argue that racism is an integral and permanent part of American society. It's integral and permanent as part of American society. So then African-American struggles for equality are doomed, he argues in the text. Our struggles are doomed to fail so long as the majority of white folk do not see their own well-being threatened by the status quo. It's not either or, it's both and. So Bell calls on African-Americans to face up to this unhappy truth and abandon a misplaced faith in inevitable progress. Dr. King was always fond of saying that progress does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability. That's Martin King, and Derek Bell is echoing that in this book. So Bell argues that in the book that only when we face up to this unhappy truth and abandon this misplaced faith in inevitable progress, only then will we, black folk, and those whites who join us, be in a position to create viable strategies to alleviate the burdens of racism, freed of the, how might I put it, stifling rigidity of relying unthinkingly on the slogan, "We shall overcome." Bell writes that we are impelled both, to live each day more fully and to examine critically the actual effectiveness of traditional civil rights remedies. And so that's just a brief understanding, overview, I should say, of what the book is about. As I've read this book more than once in my lifetime, Janet Dewar Bell, to me, the book is both, how might I put this, it is both prescriptive, that's pretty obvious, and also critical. He's interrogating the way we have processed, the way we have moved, the way we have thought, and ultimately giving us a different prism through which to look. So it's forward thinking. It raises, again, all kinds of interrogations about the ways we have moved heretofore, but it's also prescriptive. That's my assessment, broadly speaking. Give me yours, and we'll jump inside the text.
Yes, I agree with that. And, you know, as Derek died in 2011, and over the years, I've come to appreciate how much of a prophet he was. And I've also been in situations where people who criticized him for what you just read and said, "How dare you say this? How dare you be critical? We had Brown v. Board, you know, in 1957, and everything's done." And Derek says, "No, y'all need to read y'all's history about Reconstruction and how you have to read about interest convergence, that whites, there's only advancement for black people when whites feel that they have an advancement." And even that, we've seen now that they vote against their own interests.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to say something about books on shelves, Tavis, because you and I have known each other over the years, and I have your books on my shelf, Accountable, Keeping the Faith, and I go back to this. And people keep calling me now particularly about faces. You know, I've sat in meetings and events over the last couple of years where people who were critical of Derek in his lifetime now are saying to me, some of them are whispering on the side, you know, we wish we had listened to them. And then others who've come out front with it, you know, like his colleague at Harvard Law School, Randall Kennedy, who said, "I wish not only had I listened to him, but I had been more supportive of him." But, you know, Derek never had enmity toward those people who disagreed with him like that. He was a much better person, I have to say, than I am in many ways. And so he wrote, the reason he said the permanence of racism was to relieve us from the responsibility of, like, you, Tavis, having your national shows and having your climate change action and writing books, and me doing whatever I do, and all these and all of the accomplishments that many people have and have been prevented from having. It was to relieve us of the responsibility of saying, well, why haven't we waved a magic wand and made racism and stuff go away? Because we can't. Racism is really embedded in the American psyche, in what the vision of America is. When we took over this land from the indigenous people who had, as someone said, the real birthright citizenship, right?
Yeah.
Say amen, everybody.
Yeah.
With that. And so, you know, what we have to do is say, okay, how do we go forward with that? So what we do, and what Derek has said, Derek was such a, everyone knows this who knows me about Derek and me, is that I just adored my husband. Besides being a scholar and a prophet and whatever, he was simply a beautiful human being. And he had some simple kinds of assessments that people didn't always understand at the time. He'd go from this high level of scholarship. You know, he wrote the first law school case book on racism, and American law at Harvard University. And so, but what he kept in mind, and he always kept in mind contradictory ideas, racial realism, hope. He was always about hope and faith.
Yeah.
I say he was forever faithful, a good shepherd.
Yeah. There is, I want to just pick apart here some of these tenets that one is forced to wrestle with when they read this book, Faces at the Bottom of the Well.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and you put your finger on one of them. I want to go right back to it, though. I recall this, and in preparation for our conversation, I went back just to refresh my memory. Indeed, I was correct, that there were persons who kind of went in on Derek Bell when this book came out all those years ago, in part because of the subtitle, The Permanence of Racism. They said then, and some would even still argue now, that notion, the permanence of racism, is in and of itself defeatist. How would you respond to that?
I don't think it's defeatist. I think it's realistic, and it's saying that racism as sexism will exist. So how do we deal with that? How do we move forward? And those of us who've spent our lives trying to ameliorate the situation, not just for our own groups, but for everybody, have to understand that we have not lost the cause. We are moving forward. So so what I've said to people when they challenge me, they say, "Well, why does he say permanence?" I said, "Well, how can talk about unpacking? So tell me, so the burden is on you. Have we eliminated racism?"
Yeah.
And then they go, and then they start coming up with things, and I say, so what would you say about that? Why haven't we not eliminated that? Why are you saying that Derek Bell was incorrect when he challenged us on that? And they never have an answer.
I guess the other question is, if there is this permanence to racism, and I don't disagree with Professor Bell, if there's a permanence to it, and if it is intractable, then why fight? Why fight on any front that you know you're up against intractability?
Well, I think there's a difference between permanence and intractability.
Oh, I like this. Is getting good. Okay, okay. I see where you're going. Break it down. I see where you're going.
Break it down. That's right.
I see it.
And so if we look at the reality of it, as Derek called racial realism, then we will continue to be alert. What happened with many of us, particularly some of us during the Civil Rights Movement, but particularly with the election of Barack Obama, we thought, well, y'all, we have eliminated racism. And guess what? Racism did something as cancers do. It changed, and so what happened was we got who, Donald J. Trump. And so what it is, so to say the permanence of racism is really a caution, I think, more than anything else. And I'm hesitant sometimes to try to translate Derek's ideas because, first of all, he was the deepest scholar I have ever known.
Yeah.
And he's not been here for the last 11 years, the last 13 years, to really put different things into context. He was excited about the election of Barack Obama, but the most interesting thing, since Derek and his first wife, his late wife, I met Derek after Jewel Hairston Bell died. Sure. A wonderful woman. I always lift her up.
Always, yeah.
Always. And so I remember the election night. I'd just come off of several weeks working on the ground in Ohio, because both Jewel and I were street fighters. Derek was far more intellectual than both of us, right? And so he and the great Judge Robert L. Carter were so excited. Literally, I was talking to them, tears streaming down their faces because of where we had come. And I said, the work has just begun. And they said, okay, but they both said, we can take a moment to enjoy, and then we move on. That's exactly exactly right. And they were right about that, and they both kept up the struggle.
Yeah. So the other part of this treatise called "Faces at the Bottom of the Well," written by Derek Bell, is this argument that we black folk and our struggle for equality is doomed to fail so long as the majority, we don't need all of them, but the majority of white folk do not see their own well-being threatened by the status quo. I remember the first time I read this book, wrestling with that reality then, and frankly, all these years later, I'm still wrestling with it, because that's a serious thing, to have to rely on a majority of white folk to see that their own well-being is threatened by the status quo. I don't know how we get to that part, particularly in Trump 2.0. What say you about that part of Derek Bell's book?
Well, I think what is interesting is that you don't have to have a majority. What we've seen are the unleashing of these, I call them the shock troops, for Trump and what have you. And what they're trying to do is to keep us off balance, and keep us focused on whatever crisis they are
manufacturing,
creating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so to move us over to a shiny object on the side, so you have the billionaire bullies who are imperialists. I call it full frontal fascism, who are trying to take over the world. But if I could, please, I'd like to read the inscription from the book Faces at the Bottom of the Well. It's about a half minute. Do we have that time?
Go for it.
It says, "Black people are the magical faces at the bottom of society's well. Even the poorest whites, those who must live their lives only a few levels above, gain their self-esteem by gazing down on us. Surely they must know that their deliverance depends on letting down their robes. Only by working together is escape possible. Over time, many reach out, but most simply watch, mesmerized into maintaining their unspoken commitment to keeping us where we are at whatever cost to them or to us."
It's beautiful. You heard Derek Bell right, and Janet Dewar-Bell Reed. We are the magical faces at the bottom of the well. Beautifully put. We are the magical faces at the bottom of the well. We're talking more about this book when we come forward. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has approved a waiver allowing humanitarian groups affected by the U.S. foreign aid freeze to receive life-saving assistance. The White House is evaluating the national security impact of the new Chinese AI app DeepSeek. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stated that the National Security Council is reviewing the app's implications. More than 290,000 cars are being recalled by Honda. At issue is a problem with the fuel injection electronic control unit. Affected models include Acura MDX Type S, Acura TLX Type S, and Honda Pilots from 2023 to 2025. And a new poll reveals that 85% of Greenlanders do not want to join the U.S., with only 6% in favor. The survey was commissioned by a Danish newspaper following President Trump's call for Denmark to relinquish control over Greenland. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Need better hot water? Water Heaters Only makes replacing your water heater easy. With one call and great pricing, Water Heaters Only can have you back in hot water the same day, within hours of your call. Visit waterheatersonly.com. That's waterheatersonly.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers had a bad night in Philadelphia. They lost to the Sixers 118-104. A loss more troubling because the Sixers did not have Joel Embiid or Paul George. The Lakers committed 22 turnovers, 8 by LeBron. LeBron was able to drop 31 points. The Lakers are at Washington on Thursday. The Clippers are back in action tonight. They're at San Antonio. Magic Johnson is part of a new fundraising initiative created by California Governor Gavin Newsom to support rebuilding efforts for wildfire victims. Joining Magic is Dodgers Chairman Mark Walter and Casey Wasserman, lead organizer for the 2028 Summer Olympics in LA. Magic said his main focus will be the black residents in Altadena who lost homes and property. Quote from Magic, "Those people might get left behind. I want to make sure that doesn't happen." End quote. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Need better hot water? Water Heaters Only makes replacing your water heater easy. With one call and great pricing, Water Heaters Only can have you back in hot water the same day, within hours of your call. Visit waterheatersonly.com. That's waterheatersonly.com.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check your sunroof is closed first, before driving through the car wash.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, no. Wait, whoa.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check your sunroof is closed first, before driving through the car wash.
Whoa. Oh, no. Wait, whoa.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis, Smiley.
You are indeed. We'll get back to Faces at the Bottom of the Well, The Permanence of Racism with Janet Dewar-Bell, a book authored by her late husband, Derek Bell. I'll do that in just a second here. There is breaking news at this hour. The White House has rescinded its federal aid freeze, literally just moments ago. Before Janet Dewar-Bell came on this program, we were talking about this drama of the Trump administration freezing all of this aid. And we played a clip from Chuck Schumer. Had a guest on in hour one talking about the silliness of all of this. And I said in the first hour, as news came forward, that a federal judge, of course, had blocked this and basically called it blatantly unconstitutional and illegal. That's not a quote, but it's illegal. It's unconstitutional. It was an overreach, clearly, by the administration. So this appears to be, and depending on how one defines misstep, and I understand we can be liberal in that regard, talking about the Trump administration, but depending on how one defines the word misstep, this appears to be the first major misstep, the first major overreach of this administration, where they themselves, Janet Dewar-Bell, had to back down, given this judge's decision to halt this. And now even the Trump team has said, okay, we're going to rescind that. So this is the first boo-boo, if you will, of their administration. We were also talking in our first hour about the way Trump's team is, they call it flooding the zone. This strategy that leaves their opponents gasping in outrage as they roll out this unceasing, never-ending flow of initiatives that knocks people, their rivals, in fact, off their square, off balance. This was a part of that effort, but now they've been smacked down to the point where they have said, okay, we're going to rescind it. You said something earlier about this, about the way they're throwing all this stuff out, trying to keep us distracted. But at least on this point, they've now had to back up. Janet Dewar-Bell?
Yes, well, it's their strategy that they said that they were going to do, the shock and awe, and 200 or more, and more. We were going to see more of these things, but but what we have to remember is how little and pathetic these people are. Trump is a sham. His people are not strong. They are frightened. And in some ways, because I'm a person of faith, and I feel sorry for them because they live without hope. They are, when you read about them, all of these billionaires who are preparing bunkers. And so if the world collapses, like you're trying to save the planet with climate change initiatives, right? Things like that, and they're building bunkers. So what do they do if the planet is on fire? There is no Earth too, and this shows you how ignorant they are. And so you go, unfortunately, they have a lot of power, and we have to fight against that at all costs. But what we have to remember, that these people are not invincible, and that the power is still with the people. And I remind people, and my Jewish friends remind me, those who are activists, that there were more Jews in Germany than there were Nazis. How did Hitler take over? And how did we persevere? We have to do that. There are more of us than there are of the people who would destroy this country, and we have to stand up for it.
In case you've just tuned in, Janet Dewar-Bell is our guest. She's the founding president of Lead Intergenerational Solutions. Happens to be the widow of the late, great distinguished law professor Derek Bell, the father of critical race theory. Wrote a number of books, but this one is a classic. It's called Faces at the Bottom of the Well, The Permanence of Racism. Many of you know this book, have read this book. It was an instant New York Times bestseller. It's been reprinted more times than I can count. Again, it's called Faces at the Bottom of the Well, The Permanence of Racism. If you don't have it on your bookshelf, order it, get it. It's a book that you ought to be reading right about now. It will help you, but it will also challenge you. I say all the time, this program, my work is at its best when I'm challenging people to re-examine the assumptions they hold, when I'm doing my part to help expand your inventory of ideas. And that's what Derek Bell does so brilliantly in this book. One of the things I want to come to next, as we, again, pull this book off the shelf and go inside of it in this critical moment of American history, is, you mentioned a moment ago being a person of faith. I'm a person of faith. Derek Bell was a person of faith. Many people listening right now are persons of faith. And yet your husband challenged us to abandon this unhappy truth, to abandon this misplaced faith, as he put it, in the notion of inevitable progress for black people. Progress for us is not automatic. It's not just going to happen. Talk to me about that part.
Yes, it's that. I mean, and that these are, as you said, an inventory of ideas, and so Derek never did anything easily. You know, he and I would have dinners that lasted for 2 or 3 hours, just the two of us, talking about ideas. And frankly, I had to take out a pen and paper to try to catch up. I will admit that.
Yeah.
And so it was very interesting that to look at, even though there are those challenges. So how do we still keep the faith and move forward? And he always did that. And so I always figured that the best way to represent Derek Bell is by his writing, because he was a prolific writer. He wrote all the time, not just his books, but I've been doing his archives, hundreds of law review articles and letters and things like that. And in the epilogue to Faces at the Bottom of the Well, when he was writing to his alter ego, Geneva Crenshaw, his character, who was a tall, dark-skinned black woman. And those of you who know me, that was not fashioned after me.
Not
I am
you.
short.
Yeah.
But I understand Geneva Crenshaw. And Derek wrote to her, and he said, "Beyond the despair, I am reminded that our forebears, though betrayed into bondage, survived the slavery in which they were reduced to things, property, entitled neither to rights nor to respect as human beings. Somehow, as the legacy of our spirituals makes clear, our enslaved ancestors managed to retain their humanity," hello, y'all, "as well as their faith that evil and suffering were not the extent of their destiny or of the destiny of those who would follow them. Indeed, we owe our existence to their perseverance, their faith. In these perilous times, we must do no less than they did. Fashion a philosophy that both matches the unique dangers we face and enables us to recognize in those dangers opportunities for committed living and humane service." Derek then says, "The task is less daunting than it might appear." And then he goes on. This was written in 1992.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by that latter part. Read that part again where he talks about the opportunities that exist in moments like these, where the word opportunities pops up. Read that word where opportunities pops up again.
Yes, he said that in these perilous times, we must do no less than they did, fashion a philosophy that both matches the unique dangers we face and enables us to recognize in those dangers opportunities for committed living and humane service. The task is less daunting than it might appear.
I asked you to
From the beginning, let me just read this last line.
Please.
We have been living and working for racial justice in the face of unacknowledged threat. And then he goes on, and he talks about how and he gives credit to abolitionists and others, and how in the context of our history, we have continued to move forward.
Yep. What he's arguing, and I want to interrogate this when we come forward,
yes,
is that
please, I love it.
No, even in moments of danger like the one we're in right now, what Derek Bell is arguing is that there are opportunities. Opportunities persist and exist even in moments of danger like this. I want to give Janet Dewar Bell an opportunity to sound off on that. And I'm still struck, and I've heard this and read it more times than I can count, maybe not that many times, but when Derek Bell refers to us black people, we black people, as the magical faces at the bottom of the well. The book is called Faces at the Bottom of the Well, but he says that we black people are the magical faces at the bottom of the well. What did he mean by that? You're listening to Janet Dewar Bell on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Hey, you. I knew I'd find you back in the same aisle. What are you looking for today? More fiber, more laxatives, more of the same ways to manage your constipation? Look, if your constipation with belly pain keeps coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LANZESS.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, and I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Janet Dewar-Bell, Dr. Janet Dewar-Bell. We've been discussing in this hour, because you've just tuned in, the classic text from her late husband, Derek Bell, brilliant scholar. Faces at the bottom of the well, the permanence of racism, and why now is as good a time as any to pull it off your shelf if you have it. If you don't have it, go order it, get it. It's still available. But it's a book that I recommend rereading, particularly in such a time as this. But that phrase in the epilogue, is not the epilogue, the phrase "magical faces" that you referenced a moment ago. When you read that, even all these years later, when you hear that beautiful phrase that we, Janet Dewar-Bell, are the magical faces at the bottom of the well, and they gaze at us. How do you interpret that?
I interpret that as distractions from the pain of their existence. By the existence that distracts people who are not, quote, part of the power structure, to focus on someone else who they think is worse off than they are. So rather than them, the other part of that, so rather than them lifting up all boats, they want to, which is what the cynical ploy of the Trump publicans, I call them, is that they try to make people feel so bad, but it's okay that you feel bad because there are people who feel worse because we're really cruel and we're going to attack them even more than we attacked you. But what's interesting, so Derek's theory of entrance conversions, so the Trump administration didn't rescind that order out of the kindness of their heart. They have no kindness. They rescinded it because they've gotten a lot of pushback from people who finally realize, wait a minute, they're not talking about them. They are talking about us. And why it's taken them so long, and I've tried to be really kind to those people who voted for someone I couldn't understand why they voted for, but at least they have realized that, and so that is a hope, and that's one of the opportunities that we're talking about, and we need to seize on that, and we need to really continue to do what Derek tried to do, was connect the interests of all people, connect the narrative, to do what Martin Luther King also did, who said injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. You know that's right.
Oh, yeah.
And people somehow try to forget that. Yep. So, at any rate, I'm excited. You can tell that I call myself a hope meister.
Yeah.
and I am excited about doing what it is that we can do. And we only can do that. And frankly, I get down, and as I said on another program a few days ago, so I then read the words from, Derek's books and my books, Lighting the Fires of Freedom, and Blackbird Singing, to move forward in the struggle. Because number one, we don't have the right to give up. Number two, it is a blessing to be able to move forward.
I love both of those. We ain't got the right. She didn't say ain't. I said it. We don't have the right to give up. She's right about that. And we are blessed to be here in this moment, grim though it may be. If you know Janet Dewey-Bell, she's right about that. That's a perfect word for her. She is a perennial hope meister. That's what she is, and I always joy in my conversations, public or private, with her. Our remaining moments with her when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward. Forward.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found BenefitsCheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Made fresh daily in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Janet Dewitt-Bell. I've got 2.5 minutes left. It's tight here. To your mind, Janet Dewitt-Bell, the best reason for picking up a copy or pulling off your shelf your copy of Faces at the Bottom of the Well, The Prominence of Racism right about now?
Yes. The best reason is that it makes you think. As you say, it interrogates, and it is hopeful in the end, and so even on what Derek posits as the last Martin Luther King holiday the nation would ever observe, hello, y'all, and how the space traders had come to claim all people who were considered black or African American, to take them to their home star, and how after a vote and a trade, that trade was approved by the majority of people in this country. But as someone said in later commentary, was it an abduction or was it a rescue? So if you follow Derek's works after that, that is a question you keep asking, and you ask, why was that? And then you ask all the questions. Could it happen here? Yeah. And it's just a lot. It's just a lot of things to talk about.
There's a fan of Space Traders right now who just sent a message to me. I saw it a moment ago. That says, "Hi Tavis, please inform your listeners who are paying attention to this conversation that one of the allegorical stories in Faces at the Bottom of the Well, Space Traders, was produced as an episode of George Clinton's HBO anthology series Cosmic Slop." And that episode,
by the Hudlin brothers.
Yeah, and that episode can be viewed free online. So there are the fans showing up. Who the fans of Space Traders wanted me to get that out, and I'm glad we did. I've got a
and I'm so glad that they said that, and it was a great production.
It was.
It really was. So thank you, Warrington and Reginald Hudlin.
Yeah, let me just close by saying, as I said at the top, that Janet Dewitt-Bell is the founding president of Lead Intergenerational Solutions. She has a podcast called Leading Justice. I recommend it for your consideration. It's called Leading Justice, and if you go to their website, you can learn about how to support Lead Intergenerational Solutions, Inc. And again, the podcast is called Leading Justice. I am out of time. It's tight, even with an hour. Janet Dewitt-Bell, I love you. Thank you for your time. I'll talk to you soon.
I love you. You know that, and there's nothing you can do about it.
She took my line. I love it. Good to have you on. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. God bless you.
All right. God bless you. Take care. More. I stole it from George Wallace. She stole it from me. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has approved a waiver allowing humanitarian groups affected by the U.S. foreign aid freeze to receive life-saving assistance. The White House is evaluating the national security impact of the new Chinese AI app DeepSeek. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stated that the National Security Council is reviewing the app's implications. More than 290,000 cars are being recalled by Honda. At issue is a problem with the fuel injection electronic control unit. Affected models include Acura MDX Type S, Acura TLX Type S, and Honda Pilots from 2023 to 2025. And a new poll reveals that 85% of Greenlanders do not want to join the U.S., with only 6% in favor. The survey was commissioned by a Danish newspaper following President Trump's call for Denmark to relinquish control over Greenland. I'm Bree Wood on the Black